Hello again everyone, welcome in another one of my royal videos. Today I want to say a few words about someone who was very respected by British people and all over the world, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother. Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, was born in Scotland as the ninth child of the Scottish aristocrat. There were some nasty rumors about her not being a child of her mother, but an illegitimate child of her father and the cook. So, from that reason, she was being called Cookie. But I think it was also because Queen Mother liked to eat cookies, and she wasn't thin and skinny like most members of the royal family. As you can probably hear, there is a big thunderstorm coming, and here I am making the video. But let's get back to Queen Mother. Queen Mother was enormously respected by British people. Let's start from her early life. There were some rumors that she was very much in love with the Prince of Wales, the later King Edward VIII, and that she really wanted to marry him. But she was definitely not his type because he liked very, very thin, skinny women like Wallis Simpson, and he liked women who were maybe a little older than him and married. So definitely Queen Mother was not his type. And his younger brother Bertie was in love with Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, that was her maiden name, and he asked her for marriage for 3 times before she agreed. We never got those rumors confirmed that she was actually in love with his older brother Edward, but we can assume that it was true because she really hated later Edward and Wallis Simpson. She hated them. She hated them mostly for what they caused to her husband, but maybe it's true that she partly hated them also because she might have been in love with Edward and she was, rejected by him. We will never know. But Queen Mother Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, sorry, I got so distracted by the thunderstorm that I got scared a little bit. So Queen Mother decided to marry Bertie after all, and because they had problems with having children at those times, which is very unusual, they decided to use the IVF process, and as a result they had 2 lovely daughters, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. Then, unexpectedly, as we know, in 1936, Edward decided to abdicate, and his younger brother Bertie, Queen Elizabeth's Queen Mother husband, became a king. They became a king and queen unexpectedly. Many people who were not very keen on Queen Mother, they claimed that it was a good thing, that she was happy about it, because she always wanted to be the queen. That's why she was maybe in love with Edward, and she finally became the queen. But I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it because I didn't know Queen Mother, so I cannot tell what her wishes were. But they became king and queen. That was the fact. And Queen Mother gained a lot of respect from British people, mostly because of her behavior during World War II, where she refused to leave London. She refused to leave the king. There were 2 famous sentences which she said when Buckingham Palace was bombarded by the Germans. She said that now she can look in the eye to the people of East End, who were also regularly bombarded by the Germans. And she also, when she was being asked if she's going to move somewhere safe, maybe to Canada or somewhere else, she said that that she's not going to leave her children and that she's not going to leave her husband, and of course her husband as the king had to stay in London. So that was the thing that made British people respect her very much. And fun fact, even Hitler called Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, the most dangerous woman in Europe. So that had to mean something. So she gained really a lot of respect by her attitude during the war. What my little problem with Queen Mother was, this is the only thing that I didn't like, the only decision from her life that I didn't agree with, was that she decided that her daughter, Queen Elizabeth II, who was known to be the next monarch at the age of 10, was not sent to school. And those of you who have watched The Crown, there was a special episode about education, and we could see how little educated Queen Elizabeth II was. She only had like the lessons from the constitutional law from the teacher from Eton, but besides that, she never took the formal education at school, and I think that it was a major mistake. I realized that Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, grew up in a very different time where women were just people who had to get married and have babies, and they were not expected to have education or any professional career. But when at the age of 10 it became obvious that Queen Elizabeth will become the next queen, they should have sent her to school. She should have received the formal education, and it had very bad effects as in her later reign as the queen, because she couldn't talk to other people. She didn't have the basic knowledge. She didn't even know who Dante Alighieri was. She thought it was a horse or a jockey. So I think that this was the biggest mistake from Queen Mother, to assume that her daughter will lead the same life as she did. Of course, she could always tell, oh, but I was also the queen and I didn't have the education. But that was different. Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, was only the wife of the reigning monarch. And Elizabeth II, her daughter, was a reigning monarch. So for her to have a basic knowledge would be, I think, a very great asset. And this is my only problem with Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. As we know, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, became a widow very early. She was only 52 when her husband died, and she had a very big problem with accepting new reality. She didn't want to leave Buckingham Palace where she lived with the king. She didn't want to move to Clarence House. In the beginning, there was even a talk that maybe Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth could stay in Clarence House because they decorated it and adjusted it to the needs of their young family. But then, of course, the royal courtiers, and we also see that in The Crown, they just persuaded Queen Elizabeth that as a monarch she has to live in Buckingham Palace, and this is important. So Queen Mother, she was not happy about it, but she had to move to Clarence House. And she also had a big problem with finding herself in the role of Queen Widow. She didn't want to take, because normally the queen who lost her husband was called a Queen Widow, but she didn't want to take this title. She decided that she's going to be called Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. That was very unusual. It was never used before. So she had a major problem of adjusting herself to the new life where she was no longer the queen, the wife of the monarch. And she decided, finally to step back. But she was always advising Queen Elizabeth II in the most difficult moments of her reigning. Was it a good advice? Maybe sometimes, but not always. Again, I'm going to give you an example of the great movie The Queen, in which Helen Mirren played the Queen. We can see the whole commotion after Diana's death, where the Queen Elizabeth is, wondering whether she should go back to London and join this whole, this whole atmosphere of mourning from the British and the whole world. And Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, advises her not to go. She says that it's just some craziness, that she shouldn't take part in this. I think that Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, was still living in the past, and she had a difficulty to understand that the world was changing, that even the monarchs had to adjust to the changing times. So I think that her advices were not always that good. But then again, she stayed like, this rock in the family that everyone turned to when they had problems. She bought herself a beautiful Scottish castle of May, and she spent a lot of time there. And she adored her grandson King Charles, and then she adored her great grandson Prince William. Again, you can think that I don't like Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, but it's not true. But then again, I'm just saying few negative things about her, but it's not just that I don't like her, but this is the thing that I read about her, that she was maybe a little bit of snob, and she always liked only those grandchildren and great grandchildren who were to be monarchs. So Prince Charles and Prince William were her favorite because she knew that in the future they both will become kings. But again, I don't know if that was true. So Queen Mother had two great passions in life. One of them was gin and tonic that she overused daily. And the second passion of hers were horse races. She was betting on horse races all the time. And maybe she even makes some debts that I read that the queen had to later pay off. The queen was more, realistic. She was more down to earth, and the queen mother was the one who liked to party. She loved to dance. She loved all those Scottish season with the balls, and basically she just loved to live a good life. And till the end of her life, and we know how long she was living. She was almost 102 when she died. She died 2 months, unfortunately, after her younger daughter has passed, Princess Margaret. And till the end of her life, she had major respect from the British and from the whole world. She was just like, like a mascot, like maybe some kind of a memory of the old world, the world who has faded away. And she was the one embodying all old traditions. That's why her devotion to tradition could have also good and also some bad effects, because as I mentioned before, maybe sometimes her advices to the current queen were not the best one because she was not, being modern. But then again, she was very, very respected for being the part of the old days. She lived for such a long time. I read that she didn't have a very good relations with her son-in-law, which was Prince Philip. They used to quarrel all the time. They were fighting for the influence for the queen. So the queen was, constantly between her mother and her husband. But she liked the first and only husband of Princess Margaret, Anthony Armstrong Jones. And what else can I tell you about Queen Mother? I think this is basically it. I think that she tried to help. I read also that she tried to help all the new ladies which were entering royal family. Diana, Fergie, she tried to help them when they came to the royal family. But as long as she saw that they were, actually working for the royal family, she was very nice to them. But as soon as she saw that they were doing something just for their benefit, that they were damaging the monarchy in some way, she was instantly becoming like a nice queen. She once said to her friend, Queen Mother said to her friend, that people always assume that she's just an nice old lady, but that's not entirely true. She was nice until someone did something that she didn't like, and then she was ruthless and she could be really unpleasant to the people who stepped on her back. So that was it. That's the main thing that I wanted you to know about Queen Mother. So have a great day. Bye.